It is especially the case in the Acharya or Goswami families. Such families are very learned and devoted by tradition and training, and thus they become spiritual masters. In India, there are many such Acharya families, but they have now degenerated due to insufficient education and training. By the grace of the Lord, there are still families that foster transcendentalists, generation after generation. It is certainly very fortunate to take birth in such families. Fortunately, both our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such families by the grace of the Lord, and both of us were trained in the devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of the transcendental system. Today, Nanda Maharaj is celebrating, he has got a son. The son hasn't been named yet. That comes a little later. When Garga comes, then he'll give the name. Now there's no name, just baby, that's all. And we are celebrating the appearance in this world of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, which Srila Prabhupada mentions in this purport. So we're reading Srila Prabhupada's books to praise Srila Prabhupada, just as Ganga is worshipped with Ganga. How are we going to praise Srila Prabhupada? Only by what we learn from him. We would have no idea of Acharya Upasanam, mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, worship of the Acharya, had we not learned it from him. So he mentions about his birth. In the purport to this verse of Bhagavad Gita, which might seem quite surprising, considering that this Bhagavad Gita is meant for mass distribution. So we might not expect such intimate personal details in the Bhagavad Gita edition that is meant for widespread distribution. Srila Prabhupada gives his own guru and himself as examples of persons who are born in families of transcendentalists. That is the subject matter of this verse. This verse comes in a series of verses in Krishna's answer to the question of Arjuna, that, okay Krishna, you're telling me, or he will tell at the end of this chapter, Tasmad yogi bhavarjuna. Therefore Arjuna, you should be a yogi. He's already coming to that point. So Arjuna asks Krishna, okay, but what happens if I become a yogi, or someone becomes a yogi and they don't make it? You give up material life and you take to spiritual life and you're not successful in spiritual life. There's something like jumping from one cliff to another, but you don't quite make it, and then you fall, you plummet all the way down. Is it something like that? Or is it like the example Arjuna gave? Is it like a cloud becomes, one small part of a cloud becomes separate from another, and then it becomes cut off, and then it just gets dispersed by the wind, it ceases to exist. So Krishna says, no, it's not like that. Nahi kalyana krit kaschid durgating tata gachati. It's not that you're finished. And anyone who engages in beneficial work, they never attain to a bad destination. And Krishna says that the yoga brashta, someone who is not completed the course of yoga, who falls down in the course of performing yoga, Krishna describes that. Prapya punya kritam lokam ushitva shashvati samaha shuchinam srimatam gehe yoga brashto vijayate. Such a person takes birth in a family of Shuchi or Sri, which means, Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, in the family of Brahmana, or Sri means in an opulent, rich family. So in such a situation, or Atava, in this verse then Krishna goes on to say, or if someone has practiced yoga for a long time, then they get the opportunity to be born in a family of yogis. So that's not very common. And Srila Prabhupada gives himself as an example. And the next verse goes on, Tatra tang buddhisam yogam labhate paurvadehikam yatate chatato bhuya sangsidho kurunandana. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. And then, it goes on to explain how he becomes completely successful. So Srila Prabhupada's position, we can understand, he's a pure devotee of Krishna, very powerful pure devotee of Krishna, not to be compared to a struggling transcendentalist who falls down and then he takes birth in a family of transcendentalists, and then he goes on to achieve perfection in that life. But both great pure devotees and almost perfected yogis, they take birth in a similar city. Where are they going to take birth? They're going to take birth in a family of advanced transcendentalists. But there is a difference between those who are coming up on the spiritual path and those who come down from the spiritual world. Avatar means they come down from the spiritual world. I mean, they don't fall down, but they come down to bring others up. So when a person who's not Vishnu directly, when a person who is a representative of Vishnu, a jiva, comes to this world on behalf of Krishna, to do the work of Krishna, which is paritranaya sadhunam, to uplift the devotees, then they are called a Shaktya-Veshavata. They're given power by Krishna to give Krishna. Krishna she Tomar Krishna dete paro, Tomara Shakati ache. The pure devotee of Krishna, he can give Krishna. Because Krishna belongs, he has the power to give Krishna to others because he has got Krishna. Krishna has given him that power. Krishna Shakti Dharo Tumi. This Vallabhata said to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He didn't understand, he is Krishna. You have the power of Krishna. He could understand. He said that Kali Kale Dharma Harinama Sankirtan Krishna Shakti Bina Nahi Tar Pravata. In this Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is Harinama Sankirtan. Someone who has been empowered by Krishna can spread this Harinam Sankirtan. So Srila Prabhupada, there is so much evidence from Shastra that predicts, shows from Shastra, from previous acharyas, Srila Prabhupada is that very special, very powerful, very great personality who is sent by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to fulfill his work. What is his work? Prithivite ache jato nagaradigram shabata prachar hoibe morana. In every town and village of the world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted, my name will be propagated. So, once Srila Prabhupada was walking with some disciples, and one of them, I believe that was Achyutananda Swami, who Anandamai Prabhu knows very well from those days, although he wasn't there at that time. Basu Ghosh was there when this incident happened. Achyutananda Swami said to Srila Prabhupada that some people say that if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted Krishna consciousness preach in the Western countries, then he would have gone himself. In other words, they're pointing out a fault in Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't go to the West, then why are you going? What is this? Srila Prabhupada said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't preach in the Western countries because he wanted to give me the credit. Just like Srila Prabhupada explained, Krishna himself, the battle of Kurukshetra took 18 days. Didn't have to take 18 days. In 18 nanoseconds, that's not exactly the word Srila Prabhupada used, immediately, Krishna could have finished off all the warriors just by desiring it. But Krishna didn't fight. He gave the credit to Arjuna. Once in Warangal, this was 20 years ago or so, I was speaking to a group of lawyers. So one of them, the lawyers, they're very sharp people, and they know how to think in ways to try and catch people out. So one of them asked me that, you see, Hanuman jumped over the ocean, but Ram is not as good. He had to walk over the ocean. Walking over the ocean is also quite astonishing, but Hanuman could just jump. So Hanuman must be more than Rama. So I told him, Rama, he wanted to give Hanuman to show his devotee as being better than himself. That is the relationship between the Lord and his devotees. So he thought he checkmated me. I checkmated him by Prabhupada's grace, because I heard from Srila Prabhupada all these things. Srila Prabhupada is the person by whose influence, by whose mercy we are gathered here today. And yesterday we celebrated Janmashtami, very excellently organized and executed program. I'll take this opportunity on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, as I'm his disciple, to congratulate and thank the devotees who worked so hard to organize this program. I must say it's I feel myself it's the best Janmashtami program I've been in for many years. One reason for that is because I've been in the West usually. And you won't get crowds like that and appreciation like that. So that's one reason. Still in India, there's enough enthusiasm for Krishna. But that's also Prabhupada's mercy. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, please bring. The Srila Prabhupada has come in his Murti form. Hare Krishna. Please come. Oh, that's too... So you're preparing the Abhishek now? Okay, I'll just speak a few more minutes. Whoop. That's also Srila Prabhupada's mercy that people in India are now taking so much interest in Krishna consciousness. You say, no, India is the land of Krishna. But I personally had the experience, I first came to India in 1976, how people were very atheistic, many people, especially the young generation at that time, which would be about the same age as me. Now, I mean, yeah, then and now, because time goes on uniformly for everyone. At least we believe so. At least on the same. For Lord Brahma, it goes on a different time. So, Srila Prabhupada himself said that my spiritual master ordered me to preach in the Western world, so I did that. My personal desire is to preach Krishna consciousness in India. And Srila Prabhupada had the vision to bring people from the West. He thought that so many people, not so many people, probably everyone in India is enamored by the West. So he thought, if I can bring Western people to Krishna consciousness and bring them to India, then people say, oh, Westerners are chanting Hare Krishna, so we should do also. And practically that worked. If the Westerners started eating monkey stew, then the Indians would have done also. They're so stupid, that's the word, sorry, but that is the correct word. And Prabhupada had the vision also to build some beautiful temples so that people would see that this, because some people were criticizing these devotees, Western devotees, they're hippies. They can't be real Hindus. They didn't want to be real Hindus, but they had that idea. So Prabhupada had the vision to do this. Now, India has changed spiritually. It's gone down and it's come up also. Come up means all of you and so many are taking Krishna consciousness seriously. Because Srila Prabhupada preached Krishna consciousness very strongly in India, so many Indian people are taking it seriously, which they weren't at that time. Srila Prabhupada, when he was preaching in India in the 1970s, very few Indian devotees were joining. And there were mostly, there were a few exceptions, but those who were joining were mostly not from any educated class. The most joined who were from Bangladeshi refugee background. But shortly after Prabhupada left, then it started to change, and then others started to join. But must have been about late 1970s, I believe, just shortly after Srila Prabhupada left. There was one English magazine in India which was very influential at the time. All the English educated people in India used to read it, which is much less percentage than now. To be English speaking in India at that time was a very prestigious thing. There was the Illustrated Indian Weekly. You remember that, huh? Illustrated Weekly of India, that's correct, yeah. You were an avid fan in your childhood, I guess. Yeah. So one time they had on the cover a picture of Omkar Das, Srila Prabhupada's disciple, was from France, he's passed away now. He was the head pujari at ISKCON Vrindavan. And there was a photo of him at Krishna Balaram Mandir and standing in front of the deities, and they had the headline on the front page was Saviors of Hinduism. They recognized that people were very skeptical, all this Nehru propaganda. India has had enough of temples and religion. Now we need more factories. The factories will be the mandirs of independent India. So Srila Prabhupada, by showing that intelligent Western people have taken to Krishna consciousness very seriously, he gave faith. And practically we can say, even this whole BJP, everything, it wouldn't have come up if it wasn't for Prabhupada. Although that was going on already before that. There was the Moraji Desai came in. What was that? The Janta Party, and then that split up into Janta Dal and so many other things. But that came up mostly as a protest against Indira. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about political history. I don't know it very well either. But practically this feeling that this is our culture, we have to follow this, to have faith. Garv se kaho hum Hindu hai is one of the mottos of the Vishva Hindu Parishad and the other parts. So, but people used to think it was a laughing matter. Oh, walking in Delhi in the 1970s, the young boys would pull the shikha and laugh at you. Ah, what is this? Remember? You ever had that? In South India it wasn't like that. In North India more. You were mostly in South India. Yeah. Anyway, whenever they're ready, I'm going to finish this talk and then we'll have the Abhishek.
Offer some flowers to the
Yeah, okay. Tell them. Tell them. So we're all here because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy. So individually, we should all be extremely... I mean, there's the word grateful. Is there a word? How much can we express? Agyana timirandasya. We are in the darkest ignorance, definitely destined for repeated birth and death in this world. And we're here now because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy. My disciples speak of my mercy. But then what is that? Yogyata vichare kichu nahi pai tomara koronasha. What have I got to give? I can only give what Prabhupada gave. That is the parampara system. But definitely I wouldn't be here, you wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Srila Prabhupada. We're all eternally grateful to him. In what measure? From the worst situation, what's the worst situation in the material world? The material world. Some may think, well, some rich man, he's in a good situation. Poor man is in a bad situation. But the next life, the poor man may be a rich man. The rich man has already been a poor man and a worm in stool unlimited times. So it's all it's all the worst situation. And we're being brought to the best situation, beyond even Vaikuntha. It's Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invested his mercy. He's put his mercy in so many, but particularly Srila Prabhupada brought this gift. We're all living on Prabhupada's mercy. If we forget that, then we get cut off from the mercy. And that's true of everyone, including big gurus. We've seen in our movement. If they think that I myself am so powerful, then they become just like a mouse. You know the story. Punar mushiko bhava. by the mercy of the yogi, a mouse became a tiger. But then when he wanted to eat the yogi, then the yogi made him back into a mouse. So we've seen it. That if someone thinks I'm self-made, I don't need Prabhupada's mercy. Finished. So we're all living on Prabhupada's mercy. We're reading Srila Prabhupada's books. Srila Prabhupada has given to us his books. He said, it's very important. Just one short quote I'm going to give from Srila Prabhupada. Very, very important. Of course, everything he said is important. But he said, if you want to know me, read my books. So if we want to know Prabhupada, if we want, we may not want. We may not want to know Srila Prabhupada, because if we know, then we have to give up sense gratification. So we may not want to know. We may be happy putting Prabhupada's picture on a wall and offering some incense. We may be happy that far. That's also to our benefit. But if we want to know Srila Prabhupada, we can read his books. When a reporter in America asked Srila Prabhupada, what will happen to this movement when you die? It's a question that, expected question. Srila Prabhupada is more than 70 years old, so it's expected that he won't live very long. What will happen to this movement when you die? Srila Prabhupada said, I will never die. What is that? What does that mean? He said, I will live forever in my books. And you can take advantage. So we can be with Prabhupada by studying. But again, read. He would say sometimes, do you study my books? There's a difference between reading and studying. Reading, of course, studying means to read, but read can also mean to read in a superficial way. It's possible to read uselessly. Yeah. It's possible to read in a manner that we take out what we like and we leave out what we don't like. But really reading Prabhupada books means Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Korea Aikya Ana Korea Hamane Asha. With that attitude, Sarvametad Vitang Manye Yanman Vadasi Keshava. With the attitude that I accept everything that you say as truth, then Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita. Then the spiritual knowledge becomes manifested in our hearts. Then we get Krishna. Prabhupada came to give Krishna. How is he given Krishna? He's given Krishna through the holy name, through Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. But we can't understand, we can't get Krishna. We won't appreciate Krishna unless we try to understand, apply our intelligence, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, apply our intelligence to try to understand what is this message. When we say read, it's not just a ritual, just like we used to see in India. It was very common, people used to read daily some chapters of Bhagavad Gita. They'd read the Sanskrit. They didn't understand what it means, but they know that if you read this chapter, you get this benefit, some material benefit. You read this chapter, you get this benefit. Many Marwaris, they used to read this Gopala Sahasranama. I guess it says that you get the benefit of being... So they'd read, but they're not interested in what's there. But we have to read Shrinvatang Shradhaya Nityam Gurnatang Cha Svacheshtitam. We have to hear. Reading is an extension of the hearing process. With great faith, trying to understand it with our God-given intelligence. And then what happens if we do that? Anyone know the rest of the verse? Kalena nati dirghena bhagavan vishate hridi. Then within a short time, if we do like that, then within a short time, Krishna, Bhagavan, will manifest within our heart. So all this we learn from Prabhupada. He gave us the knowledge by which we can attain Krishna. Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoite. Krishna is from you. He also told what is the attitude. Everything he gave. In the Upadeshamrita, Nectar of Instruction, in the preface, he writes that advancement in Krishna consciousness depends on the attitude of the performer. So he taught us, what is that attitude? What is that attitude? Anyabhilashita shunyam, jnanakamadhyanavritam, anukulyena krishna anushilanam bhakti rutama. This instruction of Rupa Goswami, or definition of what is pure devotional service, free from any personal motive, that is on every page of Prabhupada's books. You may say, well, where? I didn't see it. Then you didn't study Prabhupada's books. If you read, you won't see it. If you study, you'll find it in every word, every letter, and in the spaces between the letters also. It's the pulse. Boom, boom, boom. The underlying pulse of everything in Srila Prabhupada's books. He wanted out of his great mercy, he wanted everyone to become a pure devotee of Krishna. Therefore he gave these books, being very merciful. He gave the Srimad Bhagavata, which is for Paramahamsas, those who are Nirmat Saranam Satam. But in the spirit of Shukadev Goswami, he gave that also to the Samsarinam, to the persons in material existence, so that they can come out. So what can we say? We cannot say anything nearly enough. We don't feel enough to express our gratitude. We can speak in some kind of philosophical way. How much there's no way to describe how much we should be grateful. Srila Prabhupada also, to some of his disciples who have been distributing his books profusely, he wrote in appreciation. He was also very much appreciating that. That was his kindness. He said that it is not possible to repay the debt to the spiritual master. But if you want to try to express your appreciation, I'm paraphrasing here obviously, he said, you just try to preach vigorously like me. So our spiritual life rests on this principle. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasadaha. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we get the mercy of Krishna. Now how we get his mercy? Then we have to please him. And what pleases him? What shall we do? We'll make some nice offerings. Cooking so many offerings. I saw last night also so many offerings. How many offerings were there last night? Midnight. Did anyone count? More than 300. So, I guess again, coming. The devotees are working so hard to please Krishna and Srila Prabhupada by cooking nicely for him. So he's pleased with that. You be assured that he is pleased with that, with the love and the effort that you've put in. See, cooking up till midnight last night, and then again without sleep or with very little sleep. Srila Prabhupada is pleased with that. Be sure he is pleased with that. He's pleased with your chanting Hare Krishna. He's pleased with that. But what he wants, why he came to this world, is to bring others to Krishna. So if we try to preach vigorously as he did, he'll be very satisfied. So let us try, according to our capacity. Not everyone is going to be a great acharya. That's not possible, that everyone will be on that level. But within our capacity, let us try to preach Krishna consciousness, or at least we can assist those who are doing so. So, as I said, our whole life rests on this. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasadaha, and yasya prasada nagati katopi. We should remember the second line also. That if we displease him, then our whole spiritual life is finished. Whatever else we may do, somehow or other, if we displease him. Srila Prabhupada is merciful, there's no doubt. He doesn't take offense very easily. But we should be careful to please him. Means, how can we please the Guru? By following the instructions, that's all. Otherwise it's nonsensical to accept a Guru as some kind of ritual and not be interested to follow the instructions. Srila Prabhupada warned against that. He called that, he said, don't make a farce. You know the word farce, what that means? Krishna Ashray, you got that one? It means something like nartak, you could say. Used in a derogatory sense. There's good nartak also. We had 2 good nartaks last night. But it means just to make some show. Abhinayam, you can say. That you take initiation, you promise to follow all these rules, and then you don't follow. Srila Prabhupada said, I cannot protect farcical disciples. So we get Prabhupada's mercy by following. If we don't follow, Prabhupada said, I cannot protect you. So we come under the shelter of Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet by following his instructions. If we don't follow, then the contract is abrogated. If we don't fulfill the terms of the contract, then don't expect or demand. There's been invented this all-merciful Prabhupada, who's not the Prabhupada who is described in Shastra, or that whatever we do, he'll deliver us. That's like the Christian's idea. Jesus, you just believe in him, and then you do whatever you like and he delivers you. But Srila Prabhupada criticized this mentality. He said that if you're a Christian, you have to follow what Jesus says. Otherwise there's no meaning to be a Christian. So it's good that people are saying Jai Prabhupada. They should say. But we should follow what he says. This Vyasa Puja or Srila Prabhupada shouldn't become tell me whenever you're ready. Shouldn't become a ritual. That once a year or twice a year we remember Prabhupada, and then the rest of the time we have some other idea. We should clearly understand Srila Prabhupada's position as the founder Acharya of ISKCON. Don't think that we have better books to give than Srila Prabhupada's. People can't, there's some idea going around that, well, people can't understand Prabhupada's books, so we'll make some other books which appeal to them more. Appeal to them more means that you don't tell them to give up sense gratification. You don't tell them to surrender to Krishna. Then people will like it, but they won't understand what they need to understand. So give Srila Prabhupada's books. Don't be ashamed of Srila Prabhupada's books. Don't be ashamed of these teachings. Be his follower. It's not so easy to be his follower. It's easy to be a follower of some bogus guru who tells you do whatever you like. And be a vegetarian. That's good. So that's easy. But to tell people what they need to hear, that's why we're worshipping Srila Prabhupada. Because he He told us what we needed to hear. He spoke the truth, spoke the reality. So many people came to be disciples of Srila Prabhupada because they understood that he is speaking the truth. He's not an entertainer, or he's not collecting followers by speaking what they want to hear, but he's speaking what they need to hear for their eternal benefit. So let us all actually be disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Just like we're all Rupanugas, we're all followers of Rupa Goswami. We can all be disciples of Srila Prabhupada by following the disciplic succession of Srila Prabhupada came in disciplic succession. He was a member of the disciplic succession. He gave this process of Krishna consciousness. Let us all follow Srila Prabhupada by taking very seriously what he says. That is the meaning of a guru. Srila Prabhupada, he didn't come as an elderly Bengali gentleman. He came as a guru. Guru means a representative of Krishna who speaks the message of Krishna. That is the defining factor of a guru. Not that he's Indian or elderly, or he smiles, or he tells jokes. It is not the defining symptom of a guru is that he gives knowledge that we need to hear. Ajnanatimirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya. So if we just tell stories of Prabhupada, how he smiled and he liked what I cooked, that's okay, that's good, that's nice, but that's not the essence. The essence is, what is he teaching? So to be a disciple, to become close to Srila Prabhupada, you have to take his teachings, which are the teachings of Krishna, teachings of Shastra, teachings of the Acharyas. It's the absolute, unmitigated, complete truth. So let us all, on this day, recommit ourselves to be actual disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Don't make it a once a year ritual. Another excuse to have a feast. But let us, every day, we should meditate on the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and his instructions. And that should be our life. That is the life of the disciple. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, what he wrote in his commentary on the Vyavasaya Atmika Buddhi verse, that was life-changing for Srila Prabhupada. He described, when he read this, that the instruction of the spiritual master should be the life and soul of the disciple. That became the motto for his life. His guru told him to preach Krishna consciousness in the English language. So we should take that on. Then people say, well, what's Prabhupada's order to me? Often people say, what's some special instruction? First take the special, first do this, chant 16 rounds, follow the regulated, first do that. You say, I'm going to be a big acharya and travel all over. First you take the basic instructions first. Do that first. That is the basis. Follow that. And then what else there is to be done? Well, those instructions are there for everyone. We should read Prabhupada's books, distribute his books, live according to the books. Make Srimad Bhagavatam your life, Srila Prabhupada said. So now we'll have the Abhishek for Srila Prabhupada. And then there'll be more discussion, and then Pushpanjali and Guru Arati, and then Prasadam. Hare Krishna. So what